Welcome to NYU's first ever Early Decision 1 Admitted Student Google Hangout. We're so welcome and excited to welcome you to the class of 2020 and to answer any questions that you might have. So let's start with some quick introductions. My name is Caitlin Pareto. I'm a Senior Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at NYU, and I'm also a very proud double alum of the university. I have my bachelor's degree from our College of Arts and Science and my master's from our Steinhardt School of Culture, Education, and Human Development. And I work most closely with our students from New England, as well as students from Central Asia, Eastern Europe, and South Asia. So if you live in any of those places, I'm particularly excited to chat with you today and answer any questions that you might have.
My name is Ted Jacoby. I'm an Assistant Director of Admission here. I work primarily with our students from Canada, Brooklyn, and that's really about it. I am working on my graduate degree here from our Wagner School of Public Service, and New York City. It's great, so we're excited that you'll be able to join us.
Hi everyone, my name is Joelle. I am a senior in the College of Arts and Science, studying cinema studies with minors in anthropology and religious studies, and I'm originally from the DC area, and I'm excited to get to talk with you all.
So before we dive into questions, we're going to give you a little bit of logistic information so that you know how you can get in touch with us. So first, if you're joining us using your Google Plus account, you can click on the top right corner of your window, click on the box with the white squares, and click on the yellow Q&A icon, and then you can type your questions in the text box.
You can also tweet questions using the hashtag NYU Hangout, or you can comment on the Hangouts YouTube stream.
During the broadcast, we might be sharing some helpful links with you. We can type them in, but also feel free to have a pen and paper handy or your smartphone and take some notes. At the end, we'll shoot you an email with some helpful resources as well. Next Stop NYU is a great resource on the web to find contact information for offices throughout campus that you might find useful.
If you have specific questions about financial aid or the way your offer of admission is presented, feel free to contact our office. You can just call our main line on the website.
We're thrilled again to welcome you all to the class of 2020 here in New York City, but also in Shanghai, Abu Dhabi, and our freshman international global sites. There's a lot that our campuses have in common, but there's also a few things unique to our different programs. So if you have highly specific information, you're certainly welcome to reach out to admissions counselors for Abu Dhabi, Shanghai, and New York, and we're happy to answer specific questions.
Excellent.
Cool. So let's get it started. We already have our first question, and this one is for Joelle. What was your transition like coming to New York City?
Yeah, so I came from DC, which is a city in its own right, but a lot smaller of a city. So it was a little bit of a different transition than I thought it would be. You know, getting on the subway, all of that, that was pretty easy, but it's definitely different coming from high school than college. And I think something that I should have done and I didn't do right away was get involved. I kind of stepped back. I was really involved in high school, and I kind of stepped back and didn't really participate in anything freshman year. And I kind of regret that, because a great way to get to know people at NYU is just to get involved. So whether it's in Greek life or clubs, getting involved in things that like you didn't even do in high school, that's really going to help with that transition and really kind of end the homesickness and really allow you to get to meet cool people.
So next we have a question via Twitter. This is an admissions related question for Ted. So the student's asking, I was admitted to NYU, so is it okay if I slack off now?
Absolutely not. No. I mean, yeah, no, you're not. You should not be slacking off. You know, we do have a protocol in place. If a student does get, you know, their grades do drop, you might get a threatening letter from our office. So just avoid anything like that. Do well your second semester senior year. You know, first semester senior grades can sometimes be included in the review. So hopefully you all did well first semester. And as far as IB and other academic programs that use predicted results, we're making an admission decision based on the predicted results that your school has sent us. So we really do look for students to live up to those results. So no pressure, but you know, it is something that we watch out for.
All right, so let's take another question from the Google Hangout. The question here is, when do we start the class selections?
So So I feel like that depends on what school you're in. So I'm in the College of Arts and Science, and we did like a virtual advising over the summer. And so that began usually in, I think about June, like early July at the latest. And so that's when you would kind of get to meet virtually with your advisor and pick out your classes. For other programs, I know some of them have it in person, but it's usually early June, July at the latest. It does depend on the school that you're in though.
You'll definitely hear this a lot, but a lot of this information is going to come to you via email. So as long as you're checking your email, you have nothing to worry about. You won't miss anything. Advisors will be reaching out to you at your NYU email address, letting you know how to attend your virtual advising. So you definitely won't miss out on that. And then just a couple helpful dates to keep in mind. Our move-in day this year is going to be August 28th, followed by a welcome week, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. And then your first day of classes won't be until September 6th, so you'll have some time to ease into New York City before your classes actually begin. Okay, so just a quick update. It sounds like the YouTube comment section isn't working, so if you're watching us on the YouTube stream and you don't have Google Plus or Twitter, you can definitely reach out to our office via email and we'll get any questions that weren't answered tonight answered for you. All right, let's take another one here. Okay, this is a question about rooming and selecting your room. The question was, why is there no way to show preferences for a single room and why are the costs different? So if you have questions about housing, the housing application process, what rooms are available, and any costs associated with housing, our Office of Residential Life is definitely your best resource, and I can share some contact information. If you are domestic or if you're international and have access to calling to the US, you can reach out to 212-998, let me just check, 4600, or you can email housing@nyu.edu for any housing specific questions.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's look at this one. Is there a way to skip a course in college if we took a similar one in high school, like AP classes or college level classes? This is another one, classic NYU. It does depend, but generally speaking, AP courses we will take for credit. It does depend on your academic program, but as far as placement tests go, are there specific placement tests that students can take to pass out of classes?
So there are a couple of placement tests for language, for example, if you're already fluent in a language, or like you took APs or something. I think like some computer science courses, some of the sciences and mathematics course, but usually that's during the first week of classes. So like that welcome week period, the first week when you begin classes, those are available, and your advisor, again, will reach out to you and tell you when those dates are. So if you feel really comfortable and you want to take a higher level class, you could take those.
All right, next question. We have a question here about when you have to formally declare a major and if it's difficult to double major across schools. So generally, you're not declaring your major until the end of your sophomore year, but it's great to have a sense of what you think you might be interested in so you can start taking courses that are going to count towards that major. Double majoring, again, it's a very school-specific answer. For students in our College of Arts and Science, it's very straightforward to double major within the college. And for students in the other schools here at the university, it's quite simple to declare a double major in the college as well, so long as you've planned your coursework intentionally. For students who are inside the College of Arts and Science, unfortunately, you can't declare a second major outside of CAS, but you definitely have the option to pursue cross-school minors. So there's definitely flexibility there for you to be exploring coursework from throughout the university.
Definitely.
All right. Here's a good question. Joel, what is one thing that you wish that your incoming freshman self knew when you were preparing to come to NYU?
I think one thing I wish I knew is to not stress out about the little things. So it goes pretty quickly. It's amazing that I'm already a senior, but I think I spent a lot of my freshman year thinking that I needed to know exactly what I need to do with my life. And that's not true. I came in as a journalism and cinema studies double major, That didn't work out. I was cinema studies and anthropology double major for a quick second. That also didn't work out. Now I'm just cinema studies, and a lot of people go through that. People will drop majors, internally transfer, pick up a minor that they thought they never have, and that's totally cool, and that's what college is for. So if you're not sure, or if you think you're sure, you know, feel free to like get outside of your comfort zone and not really stress too much about your future plans, because it will come into place.
Okay, Ted, this is a follow-up question on what you addressed before. How much should I worry about the differences between the IB predictions and the final results?
I mean, if there's a drastic difference, I mean, I would hate to make you worried, but I mean, if there's a drastic difference, what would you say, like 2 or 3?
I think it really depends, right? There's a difference in a 1-point drop in every subject, which ends up being about a 6-point drop overall, and a significant drop in one subject. I think either of those can raise some red flags, but we're always going to give you a chance to explain yourselves. We understand that things happen, people get sick, there are major natural disasters, whatever it is, we want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but laziness, right, is never going to be an excuse for a significant drop. We hope that the predictions that your counselors and teachers have shared with us are ones that you feel you can live up to, but if even now you're feeling like perhaps there may be a drop for whatever reason, get in touch with one of us and we'll decide together how we'd like to move forward.
And, you know, I mean, as you guys are probably well aware, our admission process is holistic. So there are a lot of pieces of your application that we really, really liked for you to be in this position today. So know that, you know, we're excited for you to come here, and, you know, we're not looking for people for reasons to take back offers of admission. You know, it really is not like that. So, you know, do your best. Laziness isn't an excuse, but hopefully, you know, this won't be an issue.
So we'll answer a more fun one, right? Because it's never fun to talk about a drop in grades. We have a student asking where they can get the pennant on the wall behind us. So our bookstore is going to be the place you'll go for a lot of your resources when you come to NYU. Certainly buying books, finding your course list, but it's also a really cool place to pick up fun stuff like what you see on the wall behind us. So you can check out the bookstore website, and you can also start ordering things now if you'd like. But I think a really fun thing about NYU is that you're going to find there's a lot of free swag as well. So this, for instance, I didn't have to pay for it, right? When you go to different offices on campus, you go to club meetings, you go to different resource centers, you'll find that there's a lot of cool NYU materials that they're just going to give you for free.
Yeah, and during Welcome Week, everyone gets the Class of 2020 t-shirt. So get ready for that one. You're just going to get a lot of free stuff during Welcome Week.
So we have a Twitter question that says, is there a difference between NYU as a commuter student and as a residential student?
Definitely. So yes, there are going to be some differences, but I don't think they're anything that's major or anything that's going to detract from your overall NYU experience. So we actually have 2 commuter kind of centers for commuter students to come to. One that's just like completely new in the Hayden Residence Hall, where commuter students can go and lounge. They can also rent out lockers, so that way you don't have to carry everything around with you. And you're even gonna have a commuter assistant. So while you might be living in the residence halls and you have a resident assistant, a commuter assistant is still gonna get that. So while you might not have a room directly on campus for you to go back home and sleep in, you're still gonna get the experiences, and you're still gonna have someone who's there kind of looking out for you and making sure that that transition between high school and college and for the rest of your 4 years in college flows really smoothly.
I lived off campus for the last 3 of my 4 years here at NYU, and while I certainly enjoyed my experience in my residence hall, I definitely found like there were a lot of places for me to hang out on campus, my club meetings, but also I had friends who lived in the residence hall, so I was definitely able to crash in their room if that was ever something I really needed to do.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question. Ted, maybe you'll want to take this. This is also from Twitter. It says, what makes NYU Abu Dhabi special in the entire global network?
Well, I think first of all, it's size and location. I mean, it's in Abu Dhabi, and it's a very small. I mean, it's a smaller campus, so there are, you know, under 1,000 students. There's intense international diversity. I mean, we have students from over 100 different countries speaking over 60 different languages. I'm gonna flip that, but there's a lot of international diversity. You know, it really is a place of deep intellectual inquiry. And you have it's a liberal arts university, so it's a liberal arts college with the backing of the largest private research university in the United States. So you just have a ton of resources and a lot of really motivated students who come together in a pretty cool way.
All of the global sites and campuses are definitely going to have a bit of their own flavor, but one of the best things about being an NYU student is the opportunity to explore them. So regardless of where you're spending the majority of your 4 years, we definitely encourage all of you to think about a study abroad experience, even if it sounds scary. Even if you're coming from outside of the US to New York City, we still encourage you to explore a different city within the network.
Have you met any Abu Dhabi students on semester away?
Yeah, so I was in London in my spring semester junior year, and I was in a 7-person suite, which was actually a lot of fun because we had 2 fridges. And one of my roommates was from Abu Dhabi. She's actually from Russia and is in Abu Dhabi, and she loved it. I mean, you're right on the beach. It's a really, really small community. So like they all knew each other. There was a group of them, I think maybe 20 or so Abu Dhabi students at London, and they all knew each other and all were really great friends with each other. And that's kind of like the community you get from Abu Dhabi.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm going next week, so I'm really excited.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so here's a question. If you're out late, is it dangerous to ride the subway after 10 p.m.?
10 p.m., the old 10 p.m. cutoff.
I think the great thing about NYU, New York City, is that it actually never sleeps. So at 10 p.m., you're still gonna have like 500 people on the subways, which is great. You also have the NYU buses. So if you're living on a residence hall and it might be a little bit further away from campus, you can take the bus there. You can take the bus. I know one of my friends, he doesn't even live in the residence hall, but he lives around the corner from one. So he takes the bus up and gets dropped off there and then walks around the corner. So you have the option if you're not comfortable taking the subway. I always feel really safe with it, but you still have NYU bus and public safety to kind of transport you as well.
All right, here's a Twitter question for Ted. Is there a place to go to participate in intramural sports or to work out?
Well, absolutely. So we're in a bit of a transitional state with our workout facilities, but it's been good because we actually have more places to work out now than we did before. So you can go to Palladium, which is a residence hall. It's also a great place to get brunch, but it's also a great place to work out. And there's a pool, so if you're into swimming, that's where you can do that. We do have a new workout facility that'll be opening at the end of this month. They'll be I haven't seen it yet, but I'm assuming that it'll be nice. It's an old Crunch Fitness, so that's I think something we're all looking forward to. And you get free access as a student, so yeah. I get it as a grad student, and we have a lot of snow. It's tough to run right now. So
people are trying
for a good indoor space. As far as intramurals go, I mean, there are lots of different ways to get involved with the sporting scene in New York City, whether it's specific to your NYU clubs and organizations, or even larger organizations. I mean, intramurals, it's not something, that stops in college. I play on a soccer team right now. We play college students who, get together and organize teams. So if you're interested in athletics and you want it to be a part of your life outside of the, traditional NCAA competition, you're going to be able to find that.
And this is certainly true in Abu Dhabi and Shanghai as well. There's state-of-the-art gym facilities, athletic facilities, both for students who are doing kind of varsity level athletics, but also for students who are just looking for a quick run in between classes.
Yeah, whenever you talk about NYU Abu Dhabi, you got to talk about dragon boat racing, which it's like crew, but with dragons.
All right, let's see. Is it true that first-year students cannot pick their roommates?
So unfortunately, you can't. It's actually going to be set up by geographical diversity. So for example, I'm from DC. I won't be able to room with some of my freshman year at least, with someone from DC, which is actually, I think, pretty great because you just get to meet people from all over and all different majors and interests and walks of life. So you'll have your friends that you meet in your program, in your school, but then you'll come home and you'll meet people from all different programs, all different schools. And then upperclassmen, you get to pick whoever you want to live with. So freshman year, you really kind of get to meet different people, I think, and that's really awesome.
Let's see. Is there anything that students complain about? That's a good one. I think that it depends on the student, right? There's always going to be something at every university or college that's going to annoy you, right? That's part of life. I think for me, one of the things that was overwhelming about the NYU experience is how much there is to do and how much sometimes you feel like you have to miss out on because you need to prioritize. So there's a ton to fit in. And NYU is a big place, and if you're coming from a very small high school, it can be challenging to navigate at first. All of the resources that we're going to be sharing with you today and over the next few months are certainly there to support you. But I think some students are quick to sit by and complain about the fact that they feel overwhelmed. What you need to do if you're finding yourself in that situation is to reach out. Go talk to your academic advisor, talk to your RA or your commuter assistant, go to the Academic Resource Center. There are people across campus who want to help you and help you navigate this big place, but an important thing for you all to know is that the help isn't always going to come directly to you. Sometimes you do need to take the first step and ask for it.
I got a Twitter question here. What campus should I go to for my year abroad? Disregarding specific majors, where's the coolest? From NYU Shanghai. Okay, so you're from NYU Shanghai. Great. Yeah, let's throw it to you.
So I've been really lucky in that I've been able to go to NYU Paris, NYU London, NYU Abu Dhabi, NYU Florence, and NYU Accra, Ghana. And they all amazing. It really does depend what you want to experience. I spent my spring semester in London, and I really just wanted to experience that class of like going to Europe and traveling during spring break and getting that experience. But I also spent a summer in Paris because I just wanted to immerse myself in a culture completely different from me and in a language that I was not fluent in. So that was interesting. In Ghana, it's a completely different culture, and that was really, really cool to have as well as the amazing food. I kind of also say that put food in your decision when you're making study away, because food really does play a factor. But it really does depend on what you want to major in, because each study away site has something that's so awesome and really is just so involved within its site and its community that you don't necessarily feel like you're studying away. You feel like you're living there for 4 or 5 months.
And I'll just take a step back too and just say, I mean, this is one of the only times in your life that you're going to have, 6 months to go live in a different country. I mean, I would love to go do that, but I can't. I have an apartment and a dog, and I have to pay my bills. So, I mean, as a college student, it's a really special time in your life. And, I think wherever you go in the global network, it's going to be an awesome experience.
Definitely.
So we have a follow-up question. Regardless of the study abroad program, how are visas handled and how much assistance is there in the process?
So much assistance. So I had no idea you even needed a visa to go to London. I had traveled to London before when I was in high school, never had to go through that process, so I was really confused. But we have the Office of Global Services, and the minute that I was accepted into the program, they reached out to me with emails telling me about deadlines, costs. It really does depend on where you go, how much it's going to cost, or even if you need a visa. But I was able to set up an appointment, figure everything out. I had so many questions, and they were just really, really helpful in answering all of them. And you can set up as many appointments as you need to, which is great.
And for those of you that are joining us from overseas or are going to be beginning their freshman year in a country that is not their own, the Office of Global Services is going to really be instrumental in your process too. So they're going to be reaching out to you over the next few months to help you with the paperwork that you'll need for your visa process going into your first year as well. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So this question says, I'm wondering, do I need to submit the final SATs to fulfill the standardized testing requirement?
So, I mean, you would need to submit your final high school transcript.
So it may depend somewhat on the school from which you're applying and how the IB curriculum is situated in your school. For some schools, the final IB really constitutes proof of high school graduation, where in other schools, and especially a lot of schools in the US, the IB curriculum is seen more as kind of a way to add rigor to the curriculum, like the APs might be. So the best thing to do if you're not sure is to send an email to our office at admissions.nyu.edu, or admissions@nyu.edu rather, and we can look into your application and give you a more concrete answer.
It's more eloquent.
But the short of it is, even if something's not required, you definitely want to plan to end your senior year strong. That coursework is going to prepare you to do well in your first year. So we were telling you that before. Don't give up. You want to take another one?
Let's see. What are the most popular majors?
Ooh. I kind of think it's one of those questions that it depends on what school you're in. So, you know, you have the Stern School of Business and international business, actually, I think is one of the bigger ones.
Finance, definitely, popular concentration.
And then you have for Tisch, drama, that's gonna be a huge, huge program. It's actually split up into smaller studios that focus on different methods of acting and performance. So that's also a popular major. I think, while not a major, PreMed is a really popular track in the College of Arts and Science. So that allows people to have so many different majors. Like you'll have PreMed students who have bio majors, but also PreMed students who are like art history majors. Because you're going to get the classes that you need from that school while also being able to have a major in any field that you're interested in. So I know that's really popular for a lot of people.
And I think there was a question that came in before that we didn't have a chance to answer about how you get on the pre-med track. That's something that you would do by talking to your academic advisor. We have a pre-professional advising center that's housed in our College of Arts and Science on the 9th floor of the Silver Center. But whether you're a College of Arts and Science student or a student in the other undergraduate programs here looking to pursue pre-health or any of the other pre-professional concentrations, you can go talk to an advisor there and they'll make sure that you're on track taking those courses that you need. And you can also pursue that type of curriculum at the Abu Dhabi and Shanghai campuses as well. You'll just want to let your academic advisor know what your intentions are so that you can stay on track.
And I'll just add to that too. I mean, I think sometimes there's an idea that if a major's popular, it has more resources, it has more, you know, impressive faculty. I mean, the great thing about NYU is that we're a major research university, so whatever you choose. I mean, whether it's linguistics in the College of Arts and Science, media, culture, and communication in Steinhardt, you know, whatever you choose, it's going to be well supported, it's going to be well funded, you're going to have a great experience. So, you know, don't limit yourself to, you know, what's popular or what, you know, something like that. You know, really what you're interested in. Let's see, we got one through Twitter here. What are residence hall exploration communities?
So explorations, wow, I can't really speak. Exploration communities are a floor in the residence hall that has a theme. So that means that your RA is kind of centering, or a resident assistant is centering the programs that they are creating around that theme. So I know one of my friends is an RA on a film floor. And so they will go out and see films, or they'll have a weekly film night where they just watch movies that they all want to get together in my friend's room. Or I know he got them tickets to the New York Film Festival. And so a couple of them were going out to do that. So it allows you to explore New York City, explore NYU through a theme. And there are a variety of them, and it's not just freshman year either, it's upperclassmen as well. And you can apply directly to those.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we have a question that's coming in through Twitter that asks, do I need to submit mid-year reports, and if so, how? This depends in part on your curriculum. So there are certainly parts of the world where there aren't so much mid-year grades, and a lot of your senior year work will be reflected in your final board exams. But if you are coming from an American curriculum or a program where mid-year grades are going to be available, we do want you to send in that mid-year report. There's no firm deadline. It's really going to be about when those marks are available. And this is something that your college counselor or someone acting in that capacity can submit through the common application through the mid-year report form. If they don't have access to Common App or they're unsure of how to do that, they can email our office through an official verifiable school email ID, again at admissions@nyu.edu or nyuad.admissions@nyu.edu or shanghai.admissions@nyu.edu, and we'll get it added to your file that way. And if none of those are going to work for your school, they can also mail hard copies of your documents to our office as well, and we'll have them added to your file. And that's going to be true of your final work as well. Instead of the mid-year report, it's going to be the final report. Just a quick note on that, because we always end up with questions. I'm just going to proactively answer it. We know that if you're in the IB curriculum or if you're taking A-levels, anything like that, those results aren't going to be available in July when we typically ask that you send them to us. That's okay. We understand that the curricula are going to differ across the globe, and we'll anticipate those scores once we know that they're available.
Yeah, got one through Twitter here that asks, which semester or year do students often go abroad? Which seems like it would be a simple question, but at NYU it's a little bit more varied. I mean, I'll just throw some structural stuff out there. So first of all, if you're in the liberal studies core program, you might be going abroad your first year. So hopefully you know that if you're doing it. So we do have freshmen or first year students who actually start abroad. Other than that, I mean, there's certain programs that will require that you go abroad for a portion of your sophomore year or a portion of your junior year. I would imagine most students don't go abroad their senior year. I'd say the majority are in junior year, first or second semester.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, it was second semester sophomore year or second semester junior year. A lot of people just really like traveling during spring, I think, because you get that spring break to just go elsewhere. But it really does depend. Like, what's really cool is that certain study away sites have different programs offered in different semesters. So for example, in London, we had this program with the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts that I believe was only offered in the spring or in the fall. I can't remember which one. And then we have in the other semester a program with the School of Oriental and Africana Studies. So it really depended on which course you were interested in and what semester that you traveled, but it's usually after your freshman year. In fact, I don't believe that you can, unless you're in the liberal studies core program, study away during your freshman year.
Right. That's typically reserved, again, for students in the core program as well as global liberal studies. It's a structured program where your curriculum is going to be largely preset for you, and it's going to mirror that of the core curriculum here in New York. All right. Is freshman year a good time to find an internship?
No. And I mean, that's sort of from the Office of Career Services. So the Wasserman Center, it has a lot of great resources, and they will definitely help you find an internship. But they do suggest that you take freshman year to transition to college. I mean, even if you're moving from New York City, to one of the residence halls, or even if you're commuting from home. I mean, I think we can all say that transitioning to college is a pretty intense experience, and trying to balance that with an internship and making good impressions in that area can be a challenge. So we just say, take a deep breath, get used to college, and you'll have plenty of time sophomore year, junior year, and senior year to do internships.
There's definitely work study opportunities for you here on campus as a first year student, but that looks a little bit different because you're not necessarily in a position that requires the kind of expertise that Ted's talking about, right? But if you're looking to intern in your specific chosen field, it definitely makes sense to have that academic foundation so you know what it is that you're talking about. Yeah, definitely good advice.
Yeah, actually most of the competitive internships actually require that you are a sophomore or a junior or a senior because they want you to have that full year of academic experience for them to look at. And I always suggest Workstudy because they know that you're a student and they are really, really flexible with your schedule. So while other off-campus jobs or internships, they might require you to have a full day of availability, a work-study job will be like 3 to 5 hours here or 2 hours here. So they're a lot more flexible because they know you're a student, they know you have exams and all of these extracurriculars. So it's a really great idea if you can or if you're interested to do work-study.
All right. Okay, just gonna look, we have a couple duplicate questions, so I just wanna make sure if we've answered it already, we're not answering it again. Here's one, do all classes have midterms and finals?
I don't think so, actually. I took a dance class last semester just for fun. I'm not a dance major. I barely have any rhythm, and it didn't have a midterm. It did have a final though, and that was me dancing, so that was cool. Some programs have midterms, some have finals, some have a variety of kind of mini tests or examinations throughout this semester. So again, a question that it really does depend on the course that you're taking or your school that you're in, but your syllabus, you'll get that on the first day of class and it'll outline everything for you so you won't be surprised by anything coming your way.
I think it's also important that when you get that syllabus, if at that point anything's not clear, ask your professor about it. And I don't know that this question's been asked yet, but I'm gonna plug it anyway. Go to your faculty members' office hours. I can't tell you how many of them sit alone in their offices, lonely and sad because no one's coming to stop by. That's what they're there for. I know for a lot of students, it can feel kind of intimidating at first, right? This is someone with a PhD and maybe, you know, you've never had that kind of relationship with a teacher before, but at the university level, it's totally appropriate to go and talk to your faculty member, ask them things that worry you, things you're unclear about, but also things you're excited about. They really want to be a part of your academic experience, so don't be shy.
And from a research standpoint, if you're interested in research, that's a great way to get plugged into the community is through your faculty advisor. I mean, this is a research university, and yeah, like I said, don't be intimidated. They want you to come talk to them. All right, I got one for the brain trust here. As a Tisch freshman, can I continue with Chinese and Spanish lessons?
Yes.
So there you go.
Like I said, right, there are those great cross-school minors, but there's also just an opportunity to take a class here and there. We also have speaking freely at the university, which is a non-credit way to continue to practice the language. And because as you'll often hear, New York City really is the entire world. There are going to be neighborhoods in the city that allow you to practice your language as well. So definitely don't give up on those other passions. There are going to be outlets for you here.
Yeah, we're what? I'm gonna go with less than 10 blocks from Chinatown. Yeah,
Chinatown, Little Italy, Lower East Side, which has like 20,000 different languages being spoken all at once. You're like a 20-minute train ride from Harlem. So you have the entire city to kind of just practice whatever it is that you're interested in. I guarantee you can find a fellow language speaker.
All right, what else do we have here? When can I start applying for housing? I'm interested in Goddard and I know it requires an application.
I feel like the housing deposit is May 1st. So I feel like it's around May 1st that deadline will be. It's going to be on your Albert account and you'll again get next steps for this. So definitely keep a lookout on your email, but probably within the next coming weeks, you'll hear something about that because I believe the deadline is in May.
Yeah, a lot of the answers to these questions are you have to wait, which I know is hard to hear because you're all excited and rightfully so. But a lot of these processes are ones because they're affecting all of our students that our departments are going to wait until our early decision 2 students and then our regular decision students join our community to reach out all at once. So again, if you have questions, you can always email housing. Their website's going to be a great resource for you, but a lot of it just is a waiting game.
All right, I got one here from Twitter. What is a normal college schedule like? How many days per work or classes per se? So I'm gonna go with how many days a week do you have class?
Ooh, so I am a horrible example because I am a second semester senior, so I have 1 day of class, and it's beautiful. But my freshman year, exactly, that's another question. My freshman year, I think I had classes like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that was fantastic. That's honestly one of the best parts of college is that you really get to create a schedule that works for you. I hate mornings, so I didn't have morning classes. Everything was in the afternoon. Most of your classes are going to be around like an hour, hour and a half. There are a few things like studios for you drama students, film students, dance students. That might take up your whole day. Some larger lectures that might take up a couple more hours. but usually most people don't have class 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays. So there is the flexibility to have an on-campus job, to participate in extracurricular activities, whether it's sports, Greek life, internships, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's pretty flexible and pretty awesome that you don't have to wake up at like 6 a.m. for a class anymore.
All right, here's another question. What is the ratio of commuter students to students living on campus for our undergrads? Well, that's going to depend on the campus. So our Abu Dhabi and Shanghai campuses are incredibly residential. So you'll find all of our students living in university housing there. In New York, it varies from year to year. So for our first year students, it's typically 90 to 95% that are choosing to live in university housing. And then that number drops off gradually as students decide to explore other neighborhoods throughout Manhattan and throughout Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, New Jersey, wherever your dreams take you. But generally speaking, but at any given time, we have over half of our students living in university housing. I know that when I decided to move off campus, I did so with my first year roommates. So I still very much felt as though I was a part of the NYU community in that regard as well.
No blank, no
All right, let's see what else we have here. How competitive are the study away programs? So I'm going to interpret that as to get into, rather than a question about the coursework once you're there. Do you want to talk about your experiences?
So I do know that there are several programs. For example, London is a really popular program, primarily because it does offer pre-med courses. So for anyone who's interested in pre-med but wants to study away, London, Sydney, those are really, and I think also Tel Aviv also has options for those. And so they are a little bit more competitive, and it's also larger programs. So there are 2 deadlines for studying away. There is like a priority deadline and then just the regular decision deadline. I've always heard, and I always suggest, if it's one of those competitive programs like London, apply priority. It just kind of calms your nerves, you get it out of the way, you don't have to worry about it. My year, all of my friends who applied got in, but we also applied priority. So there wasn't anyone who applied regular decision. However, I know for this past coming spring, they filled up in London incredibly quickly, like at the priority deadline, and were no longer able to accept anyone during the regular. So if you're interested in studying away and you really, really have a site that you want to go to, apply priority.
Okay. This question says, what are legislative and reading days? And so you'll find on the academic calendar that you might see things called reading days. Typically, that's a period where we don't have classes scheduled, but it's because we know that students are studying for their examinations. So it's not time off necessarily, but it's time that your faculty members can be preparing for those examinations and that you can be preparing to do your best on those examinations.
All right, I got one through Twitter here. What is Welcome Week and freshman orientation like?
So much fun. It's just a great week to kind of get you started with your NYU experience. So Welcome Week, as you could probably guess from the title, is a week-long event where you don't have any classes, and that's what really makes it great. You have no classes, and you're just able to kind of get to meet all of the new students, whether it's first-year students or transfer students or visiting students, and they're all together kind of doing all of these activities. I work as a college leader, so we have our CAS, College for Arts and Science, freshman orientation during that week. So we always have a volunteer project. Last year we went into Brooklyn and we planted trees, and that was a lot of fun. It was hot, it was sweaty. I bought my students ice cream afterwards, so they enjoyed it. But it's a bonding activity, and that's really what Welcome Week is going to do. There's a dance at the end of it where it always has a theme. I think last year it was music festival. So it was like your best Coachella-inspired outfit that you could wear to it. There's always activities like a Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight that you can go to. There's a lot of free food, so just go for that. Free gifts that they're giving away. And it's really just to get you excited about living in New York City, going to NYU, without having to stress about classes at the same time. So a week to just prepare, start that transition before classes start.
Okay, so this is an important one because we don't want anyone to jeopardize their offer of admission. This question says, I graduated in November 2015 and was wondering if NYU allows students to study at another university before coming to New York in August. And the answer is essentially no. If a student for any reason has a gap in their education or is looking to defer their enrollment for a full year to pursue a travel experience or a family commitment or whatever the case may be, the stipulation is really that you not be enrolling at another course or university anywhere else. I mean, there are some exceptions to that. If you want to simply take a language class at your local community college because you're personally curious about it, that's something that wouldn't jeopardize your admission, but it's critical that you not be a degree-seeking matriculated student at any university anywhere else in the world, because that would jeopardize your first year standing at the university and unfortunately your offer of admission as well. If you are thinking about any kind of gap year experience, I would just reach out to us first to confirm that whatever your plans are isn't something that would conflict with our policies. All right.
Anyone here? Oh no.
All right, well, here's one. So this is a Twitter question that we have. And the question is there Greek life at NYU and how many students are a part of it?
So yes, there definitely is. It's, I think, recent statistics, like 10% of our student body. So out of like 20,000, that's still a really good percentage. And what I love about it is Greek life is there if you're interested in it, but it's also only if you're interested in it. It's not something that dominates our like culture of the university. So if you're not interested, that's fine. If you are, it's there for you. They do a lot of community service. I remember they have a dance-a-thon where you just dance for like 24 hours straight to raise money. And I think they raised like over 300,000 to fight pediatric cancer. So that was so cool. And all you got to do was dance for like 24 hours. So if you're interested, it's there. There are a lot of organizations for both women and men. So yeah.
One in through Twitter, for a Gallican student, how difficult is it to take courses around the university? So
Not difficult.
yeah, I mean that's the point. So I mean there are limits. I believe only a year of your coursework can be in Stern. 32 credits. Does Tish have a similar
I think
cap on that?
so, unless your like concentration is really, really focused in that area, but pretty much.
So other than that, I mean,
Go for it.
So I just want to add a quick additional note about Greek life while we're on that topic, or going back to that topic. So Abu Dhabi and Shanghai don't have Greek life in the way that you would find out at US University, but that's not to say that there aren't other clubs and organizations that you can get a part of if you're looking for ways to find a community on campus. All right. So we've answered some of these already. Let's just see. Okay, what kind of events do we take part in as part of freshman orientation? We've answered that a little bit.
So again, depends on the school. So I know for the Stern School of Business last year for freshman orientation, they took their students to US Open, which was pretty cool. For College of Arts and Science, we actually went to Staten Island, got on the ferry, and saw a Staten Island Yankee game, which is pretty cool because you start off at the Staten Island Yankee Stadium, and then you graduate at it's in the Bronx now, right?
New York, yeah.
Yeah, in the Bronx Yankee Stadium. So it's kind of like a beginning and Yankees. So that's a lot of fun. You have community service activities because we definitely want to give back to a city that gives us so much. And you have other activities to kind of really just get to know the city, get to know your school as well.
Okay, so we have another question here asking if there are differences for NYU Shanghai. I'm going to add for Abu Dhabi as well in terms of Welcome Week. Certainly the activities are going to differ because they're location specific, but all of our campuses are going to have a Welcome Week activity for you. It might go by a slightly different name, but the idea is that there are going to be current students, upperclassmen, faculty, and staff there to welcome you and help you ease that transition to these new places, to help you get oriented. You know, they all have their own quirks, and so we want you to understand how to navigate these cities, how to be culturally sensitive, how to be aware, but also how to do things like use public transportation. Where is the closest mall if you need to pick up some last minute item? So wherever you find yourself, there's definitely going to be that support system in place for you.
Yeah. They actually have an app during Welcome Week and I'm sure they're going to have it at Shanghai and Abu Dhabi as well, where it lists all of the activities, because there's going to be like 100 different things going on each day. So that way you're able to check out activities that are really interesting to you, as well as see what's going on throughout the campus.
And just one through Twitter, speaking of fun NYU events, Weekend on the Square, which is something I think we all look forward to in this office. Check for details on that in April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be later in the month of April, generally mid to late April, and we don't want to give away any surprises. So check back the website. There'll be a full list of events.
And if you can't make it to campus for Weekend on the Square, there's typically some videos of what's going on that we'll share with you as well. So if you can't make it to New York, or you can't make it to wherever some admitted student days might be happening, we'll still be in touch. We want you to be involved in that. All right, let's take a few more. Okay, so this question's about our January terms. For January terms, do you decide where you want to go based on the course you are taking? So January term is a period of classes, essentially short-term classes in the month of January. But what they entail and whether or not that's something that you'll be participating in for sure is going to vary by campus. So if you're a student in Abu Dhabi, for instance, January term is going to be a very important part of your time at the university, where students in New York, January term is typically an optional experience if you're looking to take some winter intensive coursework, if you don't have plans, let's say, to go back home for that break. If you have specific questions about the January term experience, I would say, especially as an NYU Abu Dhabi student, I would reach out and talk specifically to NYU Abu Dhabi admissions. And again, that's nyuad.admissions@nyu.edu. All right, let's just see. Will students be able to come back to the dorms if they want to celebrate New Year's in New York, or are the dorms closed for break?
So they are not closed for break. So if you do want to come back to the residence hall to do New Year's Eve, you can. I would definitely suggest that you just get here early.
All right. Do the businesses around NYU offer student discounts? Yes, absolutely.
Gotta have your ID.
Yes.
Gotta have your ID. But yeah, the NYU ID gets you lots of
discounts. They're like 10% off, like meal discounts. I know some of the shopping, like clothing stores around the area that offer you discounts as well. Never hurts to ask, so they might not even broadcast it, but if you just show and say, hey, I'm an NYU student, they'll probably give you a discount.
And that's not to mention the fact that your NYU ID typically gets you into the area museums for free as well. So there's a lot of perks that come along with it. Great. If we attend NYU as an undergrad, is it easier getting into NYU as a graduate student?
I mean,
I could answer this. Having gone through that process, I would say no, not necessarily. I think that NYU prepares you for graduate school incredibly well. I think that the advising here, the connections you'll make with your faculty members are going to prepare you also to submit those grad school applications, right? So in that regard, absolutely. But that's true whether you want to go to graduate school here or if you're looking for graduate schools at other institutions. So it gives you that professional edge that's going to help you in whatever it is that you'd like to do. But just in the way that we want to bring together students for the undergraduate classrooms who are coming from all across the world, so too I think do our graduate schools. So they're looking to create classes that bring together a diversity of student experiences. It doesn't just want to be kind of NYU undergrad 2.0. So I don't think there's necessarily that direct link. Now, that being said, there are certainly accelerated programs here where at the end of typically your junior year, you can actually apply to do, let's say, a BA MA program. If you're a student in our Silver School of Social Work, which is one of the programs Ted works very closely with, you can do your master's in social work in an additional year. So there's definitely some advantages in that regard, and you can talk to your advisor about what accelerated opportunities might exist for you. But I wouldn't necessarily say that going to NYU ups your chances of getting into our graduate programs any more so than it would if you're looking to apply to other top grad programs. All right.
Let's see. Can rising freshmen take summer classes this summer before coming to NYU? So this goes back to what Katie mentioned. You can, as long as you're not enrolled as a full-time degree-seeking student. So again, if you just, if you want to take a class you can take it for credit, but you just can't be enrolled as a degree-seeking student.
And if you're talking about coming to NYU early to begin classes, generally no, because all of those Welcome Week and orientation activities take place in late August and early September. We typically expect our students to begin their NYU coursework with us, again, September 6th. Okay, another Twitter ping here. At MidYear, are there ways to meet other international students to bond over being new to America? Absolutely, there are. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I know within the College of Arts and Science, they actually have like this International Coffee Tuesday or something, where they get together every Tuesday evening and they have coffee. I believe it's Tuesday. I know it's one of the days of the week, but they have activities like that. I work closely with the advisor who also does activities with international students where they will just go and like visit the High Line together, or they'll just have a sit-down meeting where they just get to talk about the transition. And that's through the school. So the school is actually sponsoring that. But then you have international students clubs. Like one of my good friends, she's from Canada. She realized they didn't have a Canadian club here. So she made a club to kind of celebrate Canadian pride so that all of the Canadian NYU students can come together and talk about hockey and like maple syrup in Canada. So there's always that opportunity to do it through clubs and activities like that, but a lot of the schools have support for international students to really help with that transition.
I would also add that our Center for Multicultural Education and Programming here is a great resource for international students, but students from a wide range of communities that might be looking for a place to receive support. That's true also for our LGBTQ Student Center. So, and we have a fantastic Center for Spiritual Life here on campus. So whatever your identity or background is, there's going to be both professional resources, but also just a casual community of students here to support that for you as well. All right. Okay. At MidYear, what should I do if I get sick at NYU? Is there someone to inform, or am I on my own?
You are never on your own at NYU, that's for sure. I know I got real sick my freshman year just because I was not taking care of myself, and finals happened and it got really cold, and then there was the hurricane. It was just a mess. And you have the student health center. So I was able to go into the student health center many times, get medication that I needed, get a doctor's note for any class that I missed. So you have the student health center that you can use if you decide to opt into NYU's insurance. If you have your own insurance, usually it's at a really, 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 really discounted rate. So that way you don't feel like you're spending a lot of money not going in network or out of network. So you have the student health center. But yeah.
Yeah. I think also because a lot of our programs, especially some of the seminars that you may be taking as a first-year student, are so small, there's always going to be a faculty member who's going to know if you're not in class. That's true regardless of where you're studying. Even at our largest campus in New York City, it's going to be true because you'll have those small classes. And so folks are going to be checking up on you. Your roommate's going to be checking up on you. So there's really no way to fall through the cracks in that regard. But I definitely feel as though, having finished my studies here at the university, the health center is my greatest loss, because that was a great place to go if you just needed a flu shot or a quick checkup. It's a fantastic resource.
I got one through Twitter here at MidYear. What is the Global Liberal Studies program all about? Can I double major at GLS? So, well, the first thing, what it's all about, it's actually pretty, I mean, there are a lot of options in Global Liberal Studies. Some of the highlights are that you do have sort of a broad-based liberal arts curriculum at your foundation, and you are required to spend your junior year abroad in a non-English language speaking site. So you don't have to live in a home or do a homestay, but you do have to spend at least a year in a non-English speaking site.
Yeah, Global Liberal Studies is also one of those programs that allows some of our students to begin their first year away in London, Paris, Florence, or in Washington, D.C. So that's a great option for you. Because it is so interdisciplinary, a lot of students who are looking to branch out from that course of study will do so in the form of a cross-school minor. The program is really flexible. There are different concentrations within GLS that are going to allow you to explore. But again, it's already quite interdisciplinary by its design, so you're going to touch upon a multitude of subjects, even if you're not formally double majoring across areas. All right. So we're coming up on 6 o'clock, but I just wanted to give you some final pieces of advice before we go. Again, we shared a lot of information with y'all today, and I know that there are questions that didn't get answered, and I'm sorry that we were tight on time. You all had great questions, which is why we couldn't get to them all, but we are not going to go away when we shut down this broadcast. So we're all here for you. If you have questions, you can always call our office at 212-998-4500 to talk to current students as well as admissions counselors. And you can use those emails that I shared with you earlier, any contact information on our website, and we'll be in touch with you with some follow-up as well, so that if you didn't have a question answered, you know how to go about getting it answered. We don't want this to be goodbye until you join us on campus this summer, fall. So we are here for you throughout your process, and be sure to continue to check your email because there are going to be important updates along the way. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Meet NYU. We're on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So you definitely want to do that because some important information and ways to stay in touch will be forthcoming that way too. All right. Well, thank you so much and congratulations again. We're so excited to have you on our campuses this fall.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.